Hello, my name is Mike Dolly, and this is my UW Stout Information Communication Technology portfolio review. And here you can see the link to my portfolio site. A little bit of background here. I'm 30 years young. I was born and raised in Rockford, Illinois, so I am a Flatlander. Go Cubs, but I am smart with Go Pack. Um, so I originally started my educational career by going to the Milwaukee School of Engineering to study international business. Realized that that wasn't for me, so education was my backup. So I transferred to UW Whitewater, where I graduated with a bachelor's for business education. Once I graduated, I got my first job teaching at Arrowhead High School in Heartland, Wisconsin, and I had been there for 6 years up until this year. As of March, I left public education and decided to move to the private sector, where I am now an instructional designer at Almon Inc. My degree started in the fall of 2016, and I will be graduating, hopefully, this summer of 2018. So I still have one class to finish as I'm making this presentation. Here you can kind of see my progression through the degree program through UW Stout, um, trying to make the most of my time and get a summer class in each year so I can graduate within the 2 years. As far as my course breakdowns, the core classes within the ICT program are there on the left. And for my emphasis courses, I had originally started looking at web design with search engine optimization, but unfortunately, a lot of courses shifted to what time of year that they were available. So I've kind of been jumping around, taking a little bit out of every little bit to try to make myself a little bit more well-rounded within this program. And I've actually enjoyed um, every single class basically. So my emphasis courses, collaborative computing I took in the summer. Organizational leadership was a pretty impactful class. Project management challenged me beyond belief, but I took a lot out of the course. Training systems in business and industry has been extremely helpful so far in my new job, and I'm willing to bet the Linux system and network administration will be of interest to me just because I do enjoy networking, so, and different tinkering around on the computer. So this was the goal that I wrote as I started this program. So I thought it would be appropriate to reflect upon this now and then at the end. So my goal when I started this program was, again, because of my interest in web design and e-commerce and the learning technology emphasis. I do enjoy teaching, but I want to see what a different role in education can bring. So I was hoping that this degree would open some doors to careers that would allow me to work from anywhere or within a different environment. And I would say that it has opened quite a few doors. So again, you can find my portfolio dollymj24.weebly.com, but I will just be guiding you along through my portfolio right now. I had to create 10 artifacts, and each artifact is designed to meet a core or emphasis competency within the program here. And I'll be grading myself on a scale of 0 to 6. 0 didn't meet expectation, 1 to 2 emerging, 3 to 4 developing, and 5 to 6 integrating. So the first artifact that I did was developing a mobile learning system. This is something that I've taken a lot of interest in the role of education and developing a lot of e-learning and micro-learning modules, both at the high school level, and now I'm working in the private sector to where now I'm designing training material for the company to be shipped out across our own learning management system so our employees can be taking them. We also design mobile learning systems for private companies as well, like Harley Davidson, John Deere, Steel, Deutz, Komatsu, and a bunch of others that I could continuously keep naming. On my portfolio here, I do have all my competency outcomes listed here. If it aligns with the core or the emphasis, I usually try to identify multiple ones because I feel a lot of these shouldn't be pigeonholed into one competency because they stretch over. So for this first one here, you can see that I gave myself a big blue score of 6 because I am using this and I learned a lot from this class. The next one, again, I scored myself at a 6 with a computer-based training module. This class really helped me try to understand how to develop curriculum without physically needing to be there giving instructions and trying to assume what my audience would have questions about or what the common sense pathway is or sequencing or scoping of the project. So this one was really helpful and I feel like I got a lot out of this class and I'm using it every single day. So I gave myself a score of 6 for integrate. Um, the future of technologies class was very interesting because it's all about forecasting. And forecasting is not the easiest thing to be accurate at doing. I looking at a lot of the automation that's coming out. I was kind of curious to see if there could be some sort of impact on society. So I looked at the universal income and to see because of the impact of robotics and automation and the millions of jobs that they're replacing, what are we going to be able to do with that dispersed workforce or that out of employment workforce? And so I thought the implementation of a universal basic income might be something to help offset the jobs. It was interesting. It was more kind of a self-interest exploration project. So I'm not able to use it on a daily basis, but I still felt I did a pretty good job. So I gave myself a score of 5. The project management class, again, I said that it challenged me a lot. Um, and it's just because I suffered or I struggled, I should say, quite a bit using MS Project. It gave me a lot of headaches. When I installed it, there's a lot of default settings and that needed to be changed in order to better align with the class. And I did a lot of my work wrong and I got very aggravated, but I stuck it through. And I'm actually using some of the material that was covered within this course in my work. We've been discussing a lot about Gantt charts and actually crashing projects for some of our larger clients. So again, integrating it, I did take a lot out of it, so I give myself a score of 6. Organizational leadership, I think this artifact here played a direct impact in me leaving public education. I realized I took a long look at the leadership within the organization that I was working and realized it, in my opinion, very dysfunctional and I didn't see it going anywhere because of the leadership style that was there. Um, and it didn't fit me. It didn't suit me and what my goals in life were. So I decided it was time to leave. And I got recruited. I got a message on LinkedIn one day and I followed along. And within about a month and a half, I was leaving education. It was kind of a bummer to leave middle of the semester, but it had to be done. So again, I'm using this a lot. So I gave myself a score of 6. Uh, competitive gaming here. This was for my collaborative computing class that I took over the summer. And competitive gaming, also known as esports, has spiraled into a passion project of myself, even outside of school. I'm actually in the process of developing a Wisconsin high school state conference, so that way the WIAA has to recognize that it is a legitimate sport for the state of Wisconsin, and all schools should be offering it. Um, Next semester, we're at about 22 schools across the state of Wisconsin interested. I have 4 or 5 colleges that are looking to recruit students with scholarships for collegiate level. So I would definitely give myself a score of 6 just because I'm limited at that. This project um, really gave me a broader scope and it also gave me a presentation to give to prospective schools um, that are curious about what esports could do for their school. Artifact 7 is Train the Trainer. This was a graduate paper that I wrote this was my midterm for my training systems in business and industry. And there's a giant shift within the business world as more millennials start to get into the management and more leadership roles within industry. So my friend Erin works at Zendesk in Madison, and I decided to interview her and distinguish what the culture is within her company, kind of how they're being different, they're being progressive, and really changing the status quo. Um, I can't use too much of this, although it was definitely a factor when I was changing my role within my own company, or changing companies, I should say, and trying to find the best fit for myself. So I can't use it on a day-to-day basis, but I have used it, so I gave myself a score of 5. Artifact 8 here was another one that challenged me. Um, I started this project at the beginning of the semester, and I was originally focused on doing something within the high school that I was teaching. However, leaving in the middle of the semester, my professor and myself decided that it would almost come across as rude if I gave this presentation to my previous employer. So I tried to change direction in the middle of the semester, redo a lot of my work for this class, and it was tough. It was tough because ownership of this restaurant didn't communicate very well with me, so it was really hard to get a lot of feedback. It was hard to give my presentation. It was hard to have a discussion about the impacts that technology could have with the restaurant industry. So I gave myself a 4 for that one. Artifact 9, the training plan proposal. This was in, again, the training systems in business and industry. This has to be the highlight of almost any collegiate project that I've done in a group because it was so seamless. We developed a training system for schools to implement for medically sensitive students. So you actually have to go through special training if you're a paraprofessional for school districts, so that way you can properly handle students that are medically sensitive. So I actually learned quite a bit about how to assist students who maybe are wheelchair bound or have some other sort of condition that you need to be aware of and work around. Um, I don't know if I'll get to use this again in my future. It was interesting learning to develop a training program that can be developed for a school. So I did give myself a score of 6. Last but not least was a bit of a fun one as well. This is how we got to now in my uh, technology implications class. We read a book, and the book focused on 6 technologies that have helped shape countries. And so we had to pick one of those 6 technologies and then look at how it impacted another country outside of the United States. I chose to look at clean, and the country I chose was Sweden. And it was a lot of fun looking at the Swedish culture and how they've really embraced clean energy, clean resources, renewable resources. I learned quite a bit. One of the things that I did was I went out to Reddit, and there's actually a subreddit called Ask Swedes. So I posted a question just about recycling and cleanliness in Sweden and what the culture is like in order to make that happen. And so I actually kind of interviewed somebody that lived in Sweden, got their perspective, and they gave me a bunch of resources that are local in Sweden. So it was an interesting project. I can't necessarily use it on a daily basis, but I found it a worthwhile project, so I gave myself a score of 5. So what did I gain out of this ICT program? I think I gained a lot of understanding of how to look at an organization, look at the way that it's using technology, look at the leadership structure within that organization, and be a lot more scrutinous of how they're running their day-to-day operations and how their future is looking, and if I want to be a part of that. This class program really helped me challenge my day-to-day. It's not that I didn't enjoy teaching teens, but the organization itself wasn't moving forward. Um, the leadership wasn't there, the community and culture wasn't there, and so I needed to go out and find a better fit. And I um, think a lot of that has come from the program here, and so I'd like to say thank you for helping me find something out there that's different and that's a better fit for me. Thank you for watching my presentation. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.